and writers. Today we're going to do a really quick review of everything we've learned about syllables so far this year. Remember that we can have the acronym REVLOC to help us remember the 6 different types of syllables. I love talking about syllables. It's a great way to help us decode words for reading and then encode words for writing and spelling. So the first type of syllable we're going to look at in REVLOC, the R stands for our R-controlled syllables. An R-controlled syllable is a syllable with an R right after the vowel, changing the vowel sound. So our example words are our, car, bird, her, and horn. And to jog our memory from our sound cards at school, we would say ER, her, AR, car, R, OR, horn, or, IR, bird, and UR, burn, So remember that the ER, IR, and UR cards all make that sound. The bossy R after the vowel changes the vowel sound. It doesn't make its typical short or long sound anymore. And AR says R and OR says OR. Now let's go ahead and look at the next syllable type we have in reading and writing. The next one is our magic E syllables. This is typically at the end of a word, but suffixes can be added. These words have VCE, vowel consonant E patterns. The E at the end jumps over the last consonant to make the vowel long. And our cards we can review. Remember we have U consonant E, mule, U. O consonant E, bone, O. You know the E is jumping over the last consonant to make the vowel long. Y consonant E, type I, remembering that Y can function as a vowel. E consonant E, these E. I consonant E, pine, I. And A consonant E, cake, A. And to visualize that word, we would have a C, A, K, E, and we have a vowel consonant E pattern. That E is silent. It jumps over the consonant and makes the vowel say its long sound or its long name. So A consonant E, cake, A is that long vowel sound. Those syllables, like we said, are typically at the end of the word, and a suffix can be added. The next type of syllable is a vowel team syllable. This is a syllable that has 2 vowels together. The 2 vowels usually make one sound. For instance, the words oak, seam, and train. We can say AI, train, A. The A and the I are working together to make one sound. And then I love to review and talk about the EA vowel team because this can make 3 sounds. We have a fun sentence that says the eagle ate the bread and steak that goes over all 3 of those sounds. We have EA bread, EA steak, A, and EA eagle, E. So you can notice when you see EA together, try those 3 sounds. The first sound you want to try is the long E sound when you're decoding. The next syllable type is our consonant LE. The L in REVLOC stands for consonant LE syllables. This syllable is at the end of the word unless a suffix is added. Some examples are words like handle, feeble, table, and marble. So that consonant LE becomes a syllable of its own. DLE says dull, as in handle. KLE says cull, as in ankle. PLE says pull, as in simple. BLE says bull, as in the word stumble. FLE says full, as in the word sniffle. GLE says gull, as in the word jungle. TLE says tull, as in the word battle. And ZLE says zull, as in the word dazzle. So when we see that consonant LE at the end of the word, we know that that is a syllable of its own. Dazzle, 2-syllable word. So after our consonant LE syllable type, we have O in REVLOC for our open syllables. Open syllables So the examples for single syllable open words are she, he, and go, for example. For instance, the word go, that O vowel is the last letter in the word. There is no consonant to close the door, so it's open and it's this long sound. You can also have open syllables in multisyllabic words. So for example, the word open, we divide after the O. There is nothing, no other consonant to close the door, so it's making its long sound. Open. B-side, table. Whenever you have a vowel as the last letter in a syllable, it is open and long, saying its long sound. And then for our last syllable type in Revlock, you have closed syllables. This syllable has only one vowel that is closed in by one or more consonants in the word. The vowel makes its short sound. So for example, in the word stamp, S-T-A-M-P, stamp, there is only one vowel that's closed in by other letters, so it makes its short sound. We have the word slip and the word bug, all closed syllable words. So that was a super fast review of the 6 types of syllables, and we can use the acronym Revlock to help us remember. Now let's take a look at how you can divide words into syllables. Remember that a syllable is a word or part of a word that always has a vowel or a vowel sound. So syllables are not always words. They do not always have a meaning attached, but it is one group of sound together that always has a vowel. Looking at this kite, we had this in our classroom, and this is just a way to help us remember the different methods of dividing words into syllables. So the first way we can look at is a compound word. We divide between the two words. So looking at birthday, when you see a word that has one or more words in it, then you can divide. So birthday, birth is a word, day is a word. We divide between the two words we know, and the compound word is birthday, 2 syllables. We have our consonant LE syllable division. The rule is consonant LE, count back 3. So consonant LE, count back 3. We have the word babble, count back 1, 2, 3, and divide. Maple, count back 1, 2, 3, and divide. So when I am looking at a word and I see that it ends with a consonant and an LE, that makes me think, oh, it's the consonant LE syllable division rule. I know that I go 1, 2, 3, and I divide right there. And that ZLE is one sound that says zul, and then I can decode the front syllable. Dazzle, dazzle. The next method for syllable division is in prefixes and suffixes. The rule is to divide between the prefix, suffix, and root. Sometimes we even put a little bracket around the suffix or prefix to box it in. So if we look at the word untie, un is a prefix I know that means not. So I would divide that syllable, untie, 2-syllable word. Joyful, full is a suffix I know that means full of. So I notice a suffix I recognize and know to divide it off of the root word for the syllable division to read the word fluently. Our next type is a VCCCV. In this one, we leave consonant blends and digraphs together. So if you see 2 or more consonants together that usually make a team, like TH, SH, or that make a blend, like GR saying GR, we wouldn't want to separate those in the syllables. You want to leave the consonants that work together together. So if I'm looking at the word pilgrim, I have my vowels, my I's, and I see 3 consonants in between. I notice that GR is a team that works together. So I'm going to divide between the consonant L and the consonant G. So it's pilgrim, pilgrim. Our next syllable division rule is the VCCV rule. When we find this pattern in a word, you divide between the 2 consonants. And just like the word bandit, I would find and mark my vowels. Notice there's 2 consonants in between, so I divide between those consonants to identify my 2 syllables. We have our VCV, or our slider words. We usually divide between the first vowel and the consonant, so we would usually divide right there at first, leaving that first syllable long because the vowel is the last letter in the syllable. So let's look at the word pilot. When I find a word and I decode my vowels, I'm going to put a V under each of my vowels, and I notice that there's only one consonant in between the two vowels. I could divide between the consonant and the last vowel, but then it would say pilot because that I would be closed in by the L. But when I divide between the first vowel and the consonant, it leaves that I long, so it says pilot, and that's a word I recognize. Sometimes with these words, you just have to slide to see which way makes a word that you recognize. The last syllable division pattern and least common is the vowel-vowel pattern where you actually divide between two vowels. This is kind of like an opposite of a vowel team. When you divide between the two vowels, you're doing this if the vowels are not working together or they're making separate sounds. For instance, in the word giant, the I and the A, giant, they're not working together. They are making two independent sounds in the word, so you divide between them, making that I long. In the word boa, we hear the O long, so we need to divide that into two syllables even though it's only 3 letters, boa. And then you have the last word on our example list, which is ruin. I would find that there's 2 vowels together, U-I, and if they're not working together, making a vowel team, I'll divide in between and notice that that U is now long, ru-in, ruin. All right, that was a super fast review of our Revloc syllable types and our syllable division patterns. Now we're going to take a look at how to use these for writing and reading haikus. So this is a haiku example titled The Old Pond, and it's by Matsuo Basho. I'm going to read it to you first and then go over the syllables. An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash. Silence again. So for haikus, the first line has to total to 5 syllables. The second line has to total to 7 syllables. And the third and final line has to total to 5 syllables again. Looking at these words, let's go through them together. An, I have 1 vowel. That's the glued sound, an. That is 1 syllable. 1 vowel, 1 syllable. Old, also a glued sound. 1 vowel, 1 syllable. 2 syllables in total so far. Now I have this word. This is a VCV word. I found and marked my vowels. I used the usual, most common pattern where I divide between the first vowel and the consonant. So this word, when I do that, makes that an open syllable. The I is long. Silent. Silent. 3rd syllable in the line, 4th syllable in the line. And then this last word has 1 syllable. It is pond. 1 syllable, 1 word, 5th syllable total. An old silent pond. An old silent pond. 5 syllables first line in a haiku. Now let's count the syllables in the second line. The word a, single syllable word, single letter word, 1 vowel. You have to have a vowel for a syllable at least. So that is our first syllable, a. Frog, 1 vowel, 1 syllable. Jumps, 1 vowel, 1 syllable. Into, I noticed that there is a vowel at the beginning and a vowel at the end. I also noticed that these are 2 words I recognize. I know the word in, and I know the word to. Into. I use that compound word pattern of dividing syllables, divide between the 2 words I know, and that creates our 4th and 5th total syllable in the line so far. The, 1 vowel, 1 syllable. Pond, 1 vowel, 1 syllable. A frog jumps into the pond, a 7-syllable line. Splash. This is a longer word, but there's only 1 vowel. 1 vowel, 1 syllable. Splash. Silence. Again. Silence. Again, we have our VCV pattern. That first syllable is an open syllable with a long I. Lence. Silence. Again. Another slider word, VCV. That A gets the first syllable again, or again. We we would say again because the second syllable has the accent and this one is schwad. So, an old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash. Silence again. 575. So, I look forward to seeing your writing and hearing your reading. Great job on this super quick syllable review.